Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is Kerbal Space Program, where last time we left up in space, somewhere up there, is our lander and lunar orbiter, or Mun Orbiter, to getting ready to go to the Mun. Now, last time I had problems transferring fuel between the lander to the item, and I was thinking it was on the fuel ducts and everything else like that. Now, something I hadn't taken into account and didn't realise until I did a bit of reading up was that when you're in career mode, unless certain things are blocked like that until we upgrade certain facilities. Now, in this case, it's the research and development. If I hover over the upgrade button, it says resource transfers available. Also, the key Kerbal EVAs can collect surface samples will become available once we upgrade this particular bit. So at the moment we can't do surface samples. Okay, that's a little limiting. We could just do that, but what I'm going to do is head us up to the Mun. I will do the intercept of Mun and get into an orbit around Mun, and we'll worry about those bits later on a next mission. We'll just get the money through. We might even be able to get the money through from the contracts we have. Oh, something I also did to try and get enough money, I don't know if I said about it last time, is I upgraded our contract building to have unlimited numbers of contracts. And what that allowed me to do is accept all the contracts and get all the advances, all of the contracts, which boosted our money up, but I still wasn't happy enough to do the upgrade, only leaving us 30k. If we'd have done that and had a problem, it would be problematic. But the good bit is that we've got all of these. We can take all of the contracts on, and as soon as they are satisfied in some way, we can get the money for them. So we can do a lot of items that bring in money, such as scientific data and crew reports just around Mun, without ever having to do anything more. Okay, so let's go through our stages at the moment. Let's go back here though. So yeah, we can just take on contracts and then decide, but we are still going to go for the space station, and one of the contracts is actually to create a space station around Mun, so that's good. But we need some more science at this moment, so that we can go and get the science labs, because at the moment the one we're missing is we now have unlimited here, so we can get it in that regard, but we need, I think it's this mobile processing lab. That's the one we need next, which is 160 science we need. So I'm hoping that our little Kerbals around the moon will bring in a significant amount of science for us. So let's go and join them up around Kerbin. We'll get rid of the debris. What debris have we got at the moment up here? I might as well get rid of some of these, because I think... Oh, I also did a quick tourist job to bring some money in as well. There was one which was an orbit around Kerbin. So I did do those just to get them out of the way and bring some money in. So I was hoping to get enough. I was just trying to do everything I could to basically bring some cash in to see how close I could get to being comfortable spending the money, but didn't get as much as I would like. Okay, let's take out the satellites. We don't need them. And we've got our Mun Orbiter. So if we can go onto that, we should find Bob sitting there waiting for us. Okay, so we have Bob on our system. Hello, Bob. We've got enough liquid fuel here. We had some reserve available. The lander is still full, and there is one other thing we can do. There is a crossfeed option. If you find your docking station, one or other will have an option that says crossfeed. Now, name when it's enabled, which means this rocket would start using this fuel if it started running out. Now, I'm going to disable that at the moment to ensure that our lander stays fully fueled. I don't want it using that fuel at the moment. But otherwise, yeah, Bob's enjoying himself. We're on a nice high orbit around Kerbal at the moment. So now what we can do is start thinking about our transition to Mun. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is target Mun. Set it as our target. There we go. Now we've got ascending nodes and descending nodes. First of all, now they are the points where we are on the same plane as that, and we are actually out by 0.7, which isn't very much. Now the other, so now we've got a plan, our intercept, and that we're doing the same as we did for the unmanned mission. So we find the 90-degree point, which is going to be about here. We're coming up to it, which could be handy, and then we're gonna burn out until we get something close to an intercept. So we're going to do this is going to be, hopefully we'll get close. It's getting close. There we are. So we get that's 11,000. Now we can go down here and we can see how close we're getting. We're getting into within 14k. That's not bad straight away. Within 14k that put us, and we're going to be a slightly high orbit. You can see how that's putting us up. So what we can do is just give it a little bit of angle on that there to try and even that out. See if that will bring our ascending and descending nodes a bit better. Nope. Okay, let's bring that back. We can see that that's down a little. You can see that is down, so we need to go up. I want to get this level. That looks better. Okay. Now we'll bring it back. The easiest way is bring it back in once you've made a change like that, and then bring it forward slowly and see how that has affected it. Oh, there we go. So that's a periapsis of... Well, it's still not great, it's a little bit round, but that's a period at 108k. And how much delta V is that using at the moment? 786. Right. Where are we out? We're out a little bit more. You can see on this angle. I want to try and get that. A little closer if I can. No, I think it's going the opposite direction now. Let's get it. That looks about level. Let's push it out. Sometimes you can go a little too far and not realise. It's better to come back and give it another go. Okay, I'm going to go with something close to this. That's 200,000. 65. That's a hit. Because we didn't get periapsis. If you don't get periapsis, that means you're on a collision course. That looks generally okay. That's okay for a starting point, and I think we can work with that. 44k, slightly elliptical, but we can work with that and bring that a little bit more down. And what we can do is change our focus. Focus view on here. And there we go. We can now see exactly how our orbit will look. And these are the places we've got to get the locate these sites. So we're possibly, when we get a little closer, we'll do a second burn just to change this angle a little bit to be a little bit more centralized. Now we can do a little bit, turn a little bit here, see if we can do this just to bring it a little bit more central. That's not having the effect I would like. Let's see if, no, it's being detrimental. Let's just see if any of these will bring that a little bit more solid. And that's bringing it around. That's going the other way. But modify these until they start going the other way. I think that's still as close as I'm gonna get. 14k. Okay, I want to get about 20k actually. Should be fine. That should be fine. Okay, that's gonna be close enough for this stage, and we'll do another maneuver node potentially when we get a little closer. But that will get us onto target for this. So if we go back to our ship and get ready for this burn. Now, one thing is, this is a nighttime burn. Have we got? We've got enough battery power, which is fine. We also make sure that all moves are done as controlled from this Mark 1 pod. There's no mistake as to which unit is in control. Yeah, we're going to turn our stabilization on. Let's turn the stabilization on. That's better. Now we also have Kerbal Engineer. Because the lander unit has a Kerbal Engineer on there, it's given it to us for the complete program. Now we're not going to burn too heavy. It doesn't know what the burn is going to be, and we are already at the burn point. So we're just going to start giving this some burn. There we go. Keep an eye on this. Okay, we're at maximum. We need to make sure that this doesn't start flexing. Now it's possibly going to start flexing when we go into time warp. To be careful of that, I'll do the time warp and then move our do the video time warp slightly differently. Now we've got a bit of fuel reserve on this because it isn't a 50-50 fuel usage, because when we come back we're going to be lighter. So we only need a third of a tank left. Actually, possibly less than that, because we're going to be even lighter than that. We must be okay with about a quarter of a tank. But we'll let this boost up for the moment. Let's try and stay on that spot as close as we can. Now you could put more engines on this section. I could have allowed it to go through another rotation, giving me some more time. I could put more engines on this section. We'll see how I go. I just flicked out of the game for a second, which is always a bit worrying when I go back to desktop. Right, 17,000. We're looking okay at the moment. Where's our actual? That's our actual apoapsis. Still got quite a bit to go, but we should be alright with fuel on this. I do hope we're going to be okay with fuel on this. We'll soon find out. Are my calculations correct? And obviously in the future, after this first pushing this lander up here, we won't have to push the lander up anymore because it's already up there, unless we want to upgrade it to maybe a multi-user module, which you might want to do in the future. Right, we're a little bit off on our angle, so let's bring that back in a little bit. Try and stay on our course. And what we're going to do here is bring this down on here and see where our actual course is. We're going to have to keep an eye on the blue one here. Just make sure it doesn't go over. The easiest way is to just start pulling the speed down. Reduce the burn. We've got plenty of fuel left at the moment. This is looking good, looking good, looking good. That's close enough. So we're going to come in at 14k. That's not bad at all. Right, the next thing we need to do is work out where the sun is. Right, where's the sun? It's the other side of that. Now we're going to be okay here. Once the sunlight will come into vision very soon. We'll just turn that like that. Now we just have the time it takes to get near the Mun. Now what we'll do is, I think we'll do a burn. We'll set a point about here, which is where we're gonna try and bring this angle up a little bit better on here. Now where are all these samples? And nearly down the south. We might have to, we'll sort that out. We're just going to put this on a simple straight lunar trajectory there. So we're going to go to there, and then once we get to this periapsis we'll bring it around. So that's just going to be our burn, our correction burn in that regard, just to get us on a proper equatorial orbit of the Mun. So that's in 1 day, 2 hours. So what I will now be doing is fast forwarding this video, keeping an eye on it, and I'll see you at near that point. And we are now in the aspect for in the sphere of influence of the Mun. So we're going to aim at our next point. Shouldn't take very much power to do this. It's only 18 meters a second. I'm guessing it's only going to take a couple of seconds of burn at a fairly low rate. So we're just going to set this up like this and prepare for this next burn in 10 seconds. I'll do it with about 2 seconds to do, and I'm just going to do it with the very small amount. A little more than I expected, but yeah. That's gonna be good. That's good enough for the moment. I'm not gonna, if I make too many changes, I'm possibly gonna cock things up. So let's not do that. Right, okay, next we are going to put a maneuver node in here to put us into our orbit. So this will be our burn this way, which isn't going to take too much. Also, our height at the moment is at 26, that's fine. Not too worried on that, we'll just try and even it up so it's a fairly stable orbit. There we go, so that's going to be 26 and 28. That's close enough. That'll be good, that we're fairly much on a fairly stable orbit at this point. We'll just give it a little bit there just to bring that around. So that's, yes, that's nice. Let's just make sure what that says. 26, 29. That looks good. Okay, back to here. Aim at our next point. Our battery power is fine. We've got 1 hour to go there, so we will just take it to that point. Going to take, that's about 13 seconds. Yeah, it must be about right. So let's see. Let's just bring it up to the right point. Okay, 30 seconds to go, and we're going to do it about 8 seconds too. So we'll set that going about 8 seconds too. And then I'm just going to base it upon the apoapsis periapsis height from the Kerbal engineer program. I burn it there. So I'm just looking at my apoapsis to go up to about 26, 28 as well. That's, yeah, let's just see what that looks like on the map. 28, 26, that's close enough to me. Whoops, have I? No, I need to do more. I was reading that wrong. I was reading that totally wrong. Okay, now we're coming in. That's lucky I checked on the map. Okay. I have to do it using this one. It's coming down quite nicely. Anywhere near 28, 30 would be fine. Right, our periapsis is a little low. So what we'll do is we'll just create a little maneuver node there, just to bring it up just a little bit, because I went a bit too far, because we were a little late, because I got it slightly wrong. 28. That should be fine. That should be fine. We'll go back here. We're on battery power at the moment, but we are okay. We'll just turn her around. Ready to give this last little boost, and then we shall have a go at the lander. Fuel wise, we're low, but I think we should have enough to be able to get back. Well, what we can do is we'll just have to see how much we've got left from the lander. Without the lander on, we'll give a test before we go too far. We'll see how far we can get once the lander is undocked from our ship. We can set up a test maneuver node. So 6 minutes to go to this little bit. We'll just quickly warp up to that point. Only 1 second of burn. Well, we're not warping, we are doing time sync. Okay, don't want to go over. 20 seconds to go. Okay, I know it's time warp, but you know. Okay, I'm going to do this gently. Don't want to overdo it again. That's wasted fuel. I now have to be very careful with my fuel. $28.33, happy with that, that's okay. Right, first thing I'm going to do now is just get us so that we can see sunlight, so that all of our batteries will charge up quite nicely, and we'll just aim at it quite nicely. Let's just try and get us turned around, and let's turn around the other way so it's sensible what I'm trying to do with the keys. That's better, it's more orientated to the direction. So we're getting good battery power, and that's going to be a good point. So we know that our docking procedures are going to be basically on that line. So coming from basically solar system up straight down onto this, it'll be a lot easier when we're trying to redock again. So okay, we are now orbital around the Mun. Let's just get us a little bit. I think we can. Let's just get this right that way. Up, down. There we go. That's nicely aligned now, within reason. Certainly good enough. That's close enough aligned for what we need to do. Now let's just have a look at exactly what we've got to do. So I'm just going to be back in a minute. I'm going to check out all of the contracts we have and see exactly what we've got to do, what we have to do in space, and what we've got to do on the surface, just to get a bit of a plan of action, because we've got quite a few areas, and some are in flight over those areas, and some of them are on the surface, as well as we've just got a general landing on the Mun as well. And obviously I've got to be careful with fuel. We're going to not use any more fuel in the orbiter, because all the fuel in the orbiter is now going to have to be used for getting back to Kerbin, sorry, getting back for Kerbin. So we've got no, I don't want any, yeah, we've got no extra spare in that regard. Everything else left is going to be for, we're going to use the lander. Okay. Back in a short bit. Okay, so I've had a check of the various contracts we have, and the basics of them in a couple of ways. First main one we have is for the Mun itself. So explore the Mun, which is get onto the Mun, explore, land on the Mun. That's going to be our primary item. So we're going to land and get scientific data from the surface of the Mun. Crew report, EVA, all of those type of lovely bits and pieces. We're also going to do the same whilst before we leave, can go back and transfer it into the various capsules to bring back as much science as we can from this area. Because we've got a scientist, we can use our pods and all the goo and everything else multiple times. Most of these other reports, these are crew reports. Now luckily these two are actually crew reports below a certain height, so you could actually do this on the ground. So report in space, it says in space flight, but I'm wondering if using the jetpack on my Kerbal, if I got here and just jetted up a little bit, it might class, and then do a crew report, it might class that as in space effectively, but they're ones that we could possibly do quickly over the area. So we're going to depart the lander and try for these. These ones over here are temperature scans of a similar sort of nature, but I'm thinking at this moment that we'll just go for 2 here. If we can, we'll see how much fuel we've got, and we're going to go for a landing somewhere in this region. So we're trying to land somewhere over that. Now obviously I haven't tried landing on the Mun. This is going to be interesting, but that is going to be our priority. Now first thing we're going to do is look at some of this science that we can do, and we're going to store it. So first thing we're going to do is let's find our plucky guy and do a crew report. Okay, we've got 15 science for that. Thank you very much. And now what we can do is we can tell Bob to EVA. Now we're not going to let go, but if we right click on Bob and do a EVA report, that's another 24 science. Now what we can do is click on the here and store experiments. So we've now stored a whole load of experiments in there. Right. The other thing we can do, if we open up our bay, is some experiments from in here. I think we did put some various bits and pieces in this here. Or maybe we didn't. No, we didn't. Okay. Bob is now this was just batteries, etc. Okay, we'll close that. But we did put them in the lander. Now we've got 2 ways here. We'll actually just bring him up again. We just bring him up, bring him on board. There we go. Now what we're going to do is transfer him. If we click on there and transfer him into the lander. There we go. So Bob is now in the lander, and we could do some science from here. Now what we'd do, I was a little bit, when I opened these up, it went very wobbly, some of the things. I don't want to do this with everything connected. We'll do that before we land and transfer the data across from space and do the resets once we're away, once we're undocked, I think, on this, just to be on the safe side. So let's now undock our ship. So now we need to take over, we want to take over this ship instead. So if we go to map, in fact we can do it this way as well. I believe we can just go. We are now in control of the lander. Okay, we are separating quite nicely, which is cool. So the first thing we're going to try and do is a space. We'll try to open up this area. See how that just gave us a little tweak. And we're going to do a observe goo. Yeah, we didn't get much from that actually, so I won't worry about that. But also there should be some temperature scans in here. Log temperature. No, that wasn't worth doing. Okay. We'll close this up again. Oh no, we've got barometric. Did we get barometric? Is that worth anything? No, that's not worth anything. So, okay, we've already done the ones in space on this. So next we have the science module. Observe materials. 16.4 science. We'll take that. Now what we'll do is once we land, we've landed, we'll reset this and then do some more ones from the surface. So, okay, we have, this is our control, and we want to do control from here. There we go. Because unfortunately it is a little upside down. That's a bit better. Should be okay. Let's put the RC stability control on. And RCS. Now if I go, that's better. Let's just pull this away just a little bit. Is fine. Okay. Now if I turn off the RCS and just do controls, yes, it's going the way I want it to, which is cool. And we'll turn this way so I can easier to understand how everything is working. Now, one good thing is, because we're in space, I can deploy all of these legs. Because there's no atmosphere, doesn't going to cause us any problems. So rather than, I could put these all onto an action group, which I should have done really. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to deploy them all. Oops, let's do that. Come on, who was that last one? Lower legs. There we go. Now, fuel-wise, let's see what we've got as far as fuel goes in here. Yeah, we have good fuel. So that's fine. We need to activate it. That's now activated. I have to press that space bar just once just to make sure it's activated. So there's our departure. Now let's just plan how we're going to land here. Now to land here, we've got two things we've got to do. One is we've got to get our trajectory correct. So we've got to change our angle. So the easiest way to do it is just here. Add a maneuver here, and we'll see how much delta V that's going to take to put us roughly over the target. So that's quite a lot of delta there. Right, we're going to move it around a bit, see if there's an advantage of a better place. Okay, that's looking... So use less fuel. I want to use obviously as little fuel as possible. I want to save all our fuel we can. Okay, so that's 90 degrees. That's not too bad. A little bit more. Obviously we're using 150 here. We've got to allow for whatever we use here, we've got to use again to get back up again. From the back and land again. So we don't want to use all our fuel, just get into these spots. As you can see, it's 20 at a time. Right, that's over the top at a height of 25k. Okay, now we'll just give it a slight retrograde burn. That's 20k. What we're going to do is going to do a fairly simple burn operation here. I'm going to try and get us low over the target area, and then basically we're just going to stop our when we're over the target, stop our vertical and just try and land vertically. It's not an exact thing. Where are we up to? We're doing quite well on the pointing out this delta V. Just playing with it until I get something which is suitable for what I'm after. Okay, let's see if I move that around a little bit. Okay, that's about as good a angle as I've been able to get. So I've got about 3,000 over the target area. So I should be able to put one of these as the next maneuver node after this point, so we know when roughly we're getting into the target area. So that will be there. Okay, so but what we've got is we've got this first maneuver. So let's get ourselves lined up for this. Make sure we have battery power. We've got battery power at the moment, which is cool. That estimated burn is most probably way out. I don't know how much this is going to take. At this moment, we are flying a little blind on the thrust potential of this vessel at the moment, allowing I need some to ensure I land properly. And that's going to be interesting, certainly. I'm just going to give it a little burn. So that's better. So it now knows it's about 2 seconds of burn. Okay, and which direction we're burning in, etc. So that should be fine. Which way are we going? Fine, that's good. Has that affected anything at the moment? No, we seem to be still okay and on for that. Okay, let's it's a little awkward. We're setting ourselves on a fairly awkward little angle there, but that's what we need to do to get this landing. Let's just take us up to the 7 minutes. Sorry, we'll take ourselves to within a few seconds. Right, 30 seconds to do, 30 seconds to go. I'm going to do it from this map. I'm going to do this controlled. I don't want this going to flying out, so I'm going to do it at using small amounts of thrust and at about 10 seconds too. And we'll see how that goes with our thrust. You can see it changing. Yeah, that thrust calculation was out considerably. That's coming down a little bit further. I think that'll do. That'll do. So we've got 31 minutes coming in there. How is that? That didn't use too much fuel up. That's good. Now, our next item is what we're going to have to do on this next stage. That's only a marker. Is basically retrograde burn. So I'm going for the retrograde marker, and I need to turn myself around so that I understand where everything is going. Whoops, that's a little too much. Right, so we have to retrograde to kill our orbital speed. So we're almost landing vertically. Then aim up into the sky. When we've got very little thrust left, we've got to slowly start aiming up into the sky. And we've got to keep an eye on the vertical speed up in the top right. That's going to be our key. That's got to be at a reasonable amount. Obviously, we don't want that too fast, and we have to use the jets. Now, what we'll do is we'll kill our speed, and then do a big amount of jet. Rather than trying to hold it as we're going down, we're going to keep it reasonable, but we're going to use mainly jets near the point of, what should we say is the right word, just before we impact, basically. So let's just time warp up to closer to that position. Okay, so we're getting close to our target. Now, one other thing I was just thinking about before I did that is we have to be careful of the mountains, which is here. Also, we want to make sure we're landing on a daylight. You don't want to be landing here at night time because you can't see anything on the ground, obviously. Right, so we're landing in some highlands here because our height is actually already fairly low. So we've got 23 seconds before our target height. So I've got to find somewhere which is nice. Don't want to be landing in a, if I can help it, in a pit. So we've got 500 of delta V. That looks like this looks like a good place, Eddie. Let's put some burn up. So now we can ignore this point. This is purely trying to get this down, reduce our velocity. Oh, let's get this report while I'm about it. Take that report. Right, we've got to start going up a bit now to stop our vertical. Right. This is where it just comes a little bit of making sure we stay level. You're killing your vertical speed. We're at just, that's good. Now we're just gonna get past that site, I reckon. We're still a little bit fast here. We need to get some speed on here. No, that's not good. That's putting us back up again. Let us just bounce down a little bit further. Just have to get over that mountain there. Isn't a great landing. Learning some things here. Okay, let's get that going. Just gently. You can see our shadow. We bounced up, but our velocity is good now. So it's mainly just stopping us from crashing. Let's point it down. Oh dear. Oh dear, now we have a problem. Houston, we have an issue. Our lander has crashed. This is going to be interesting. Now, what can I try to do to rectify this? I obviously landed at a very bad velocity there. That's very bad. Now, that's not going to help one iota. How about if I use some RCS? We might be able to... Let's, okay, this is a bad situation I've got myself into. Has a plan, or I have an idea. Okay, that's that. Got it like that. This is a very bad situation. For Bob, we may have lost Bob at this rate, or we're going to have to do a rescue mission for Bob. Ah, dear. Can we at least EVA? Right, where's Bob gone? We've lost Bob for some reason. Bob has gone. Oh, that's not good. Bob has gone through the ground. Let me see if I can find where Bob is. Well, according to all the maps, Bob is missing. It must have been because the crew hatch was below the surface. So, unfortunately, we've lost Bob. Good point is, we did land on the Mun, even though technically we didn't. Which means we've got this ship out here, and we do have that lander. Now we can either try and recover that lander, and let me just bring this up here. Let's go and have a look. We can try and write it because it's still controllable by us. We can still use it and such, but that's very disappointing. We're not going to get the science. We've lost Bob. And we have a lander which has failed to land because I was... Basically, I just was not good enough to land that lander. I came in far too fast. I might try and see if I can right it and get it back up again. But other than that, I think our next mission, unfortunately, you're seeing me fail. But this is what you have to go through on this. I mean, this is the first time I've landed on the Mun. I didn't even try this in Sandbox yet. This is the first time I've actually done this bit. So it was close. Just lost it. I should have cut the power when I had that opportunity and just stopped it. But I'll try and recover it if I can. If I can't, then we'll run a rescue mission, basically, or we'll redo this. We did get some money, so it's not totally out, and we have got some money to upgrade to be able to do the transfer of fuel, etc. And we also have that ship out there is now got a lot of fuel in it, so it can act as a bit of a tanker for anybody else that comes along, the next vessel. So if someone's running out a little bit low on fuel, they can dock with that, and there's a bit of fuel in there, enough to be able to get it back into space. So, but we won't guarantee on that. We'll leave that as an option for somebody that wants to do it. So yeah, so watch me fail is the situation. We're gonna have to try this again because I'm not happy that we didn't make it, and we've got all this lovely science on here that I want to get off. So, until next time, if you can tell me what I did wrong. Do I need to make my landing legs bigger? Was my approach wrong? I thought I was coming in okay, but maybe I worked something wrong out on my trajectories. I possibly had not worked out correctly on these. I was not aiming. I'll look at the video and see where I went wrong, or try and see where I went wrong, and get prepared for it next time. So until next time, have fun.